Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum, man. You watched the Theo Nightly video for the 14th of September here in 2021. And we're back to a situation we've been in a few times before in 2021 already. So we'll just get right to the point. Will this time be different? This is the same type of video we've had at prior pullbacks when I've had the opportunity to discuss a Tuesday or Thursday video with you when the market has completed what I like to call or have been referring to as rubber band snapbacks. Think of a rubber band. Here's a table or something that attaches it. If you pull the rubber band up a little bit, it won't snap back that much. If you pull the rubber band further, if you let it go, it tends to snap back harder. And that's the concept of rubber band pullbacks. That was the play. We'll zoom in momentarily. From last week on that bullish holiday drift, we got that. But we did get our rubber band snapback. And that is similar if we think about these not so stellar pullbacks, but nonetheless pullbacks they were. I use the term rubber band snapbacks or pullbacks. You can also use the term retracement or sell side activity. But whatever term you use, it's complete. That was the model, that was the game plan, that was a probability going into this week and last week. We've achieved our target, and that specific target is that 50-day moving average. That is roughly the Don's 44.11 or 44.25, really closer to 44 and about 15. Let's make it 44.11. That's an easy reference. And while we reference that each time, we've gone just a little bit. Again, this is the 50-day exponential average. There is nothing special about it. It just is the average price of the last 50 trading sessions. That's all. It does give a small target of price on the downside on a rubber band snapback, and that has been, as of just about today's session, has been complete, just like the other times. So that's done. That's in the history book. The puts played, the puts were good. Any type of in-out spreads or bearish positions in most stocks, that would include overbought conditions, in Microsoft and many other names. When that's done, what's the play right now? We'll take this to the S&P 500 or the SPX. You can look at the SPY or any other index that you might trade. The logic will be the same. We've got the pullback too. If we take the moving averages off, I can show this example where we don't even use moving averages. We just use price itself. And these are, you might think of what we call parallel rising trend lines or hand-drawn trend lines. Now that intersects the market just about the 44420 level. Main idea, we'll cut right to the chase. The main idea is that we have seen our retracement or pullback phase, and it's complete. What about now? As we go into this week and the next week, mid-September here, we have the same type of probability as we did earlier in 2021. And it's the following. I know that these are hindsight, but pretend like they are not. Pretend like we're at this particular inflection point when we could go and break to the downside. Yes, that's a possibility. Or we could just rally up to the high. One of those two things will happen. And our trades will reflect that depending on our point of view, perspective, trading style, and what we are looking to build short-term positions. So pretend with me, as we were here, there's a 50-50 chance, not entirely correct when the uptrend is up or the uptrend is in motion. A trend tends to look like this. It's considered higher highs and higher lows. This is true for any stock or any market. It's not actually 50-50. There's a slight edge for an upside bounce or what we might call the trend continuing. So we found ourselves here. That's what the model would suggest, and the market did the upside play. And just to keep us from drawing too many lines on the chart, use the same type of logic of we don't know the future, but we're at an inflection point. Could the market fall apart? Yes. But it is a lower probability event that we break and fall apart as opposed to bouncing and traveling to the prior high. Same issue here, same setup, same logic. Might this time be different? It very well might, but it was not. The market went to the upside. Similar on a shallower or smaller pullback, Might we go get the new high? Or might this time be different? This is the same logic that we have at the moment, and we frame similar trades. Might we get a new high? The odds would favor that. The statistics and probability at the moment would favor that, but it is not guaranteed. So anytime we get a lower probability outcome, even if you think it's a 25 or 30% chance, that's still non-zero, and there is no guarantee we go get the high. Let's look at a prior event that did not go get the high, and this would be preparing for a breakdown. This is meant to counter if you are a little too bullish in the market and too reliant upon buying the dips. Not all dips get bought, and sometimes the dips fall further. But the last time we saw a persistent uptrend, snuck ahead there, was in the end of 2019 into 2020. Could anybody forecast a global pandemic and an economic shutdown or lockdown? No. Market could not either. That's an all-time high. There's an initial pullback. There's the same logic. The market has better odds to pull back or retrace. Okay, we're on board with that. Oh my goodness, that is a big breakdown. This time was different, but that time was a global pandemic. But what we're looking for in terms of probabilities, not what causes this to happen, but where we position and how we manage risk. Again, the uptrend favors the market going higher, but this time could be different. That time was different. So again, the main purpose of this video is to bring us back to where we've been multiple times. I won't even count them in this 2020 to 2021 rally. This time may be different, but the odds are not with the downside of the market, at least not right now. If we break, and to be specific on the spiders, that will be under the 444. I would even venture to go under 436, making lower lows. That would be different. And we'll look at the S&P levels. That breaking the prior low would be about the 4350 or 4370 level. That would be different. That would argue for additional downside and play the put side and guard against the longs. Don't just keep buying dips. There will be one dip that isn't bought. Could be this one, but it might not be. So be prepared and objective and neutral. Don't come in with a bias. Don't use bias to dictate what you trade. Let mathematics and probability, and the probability does favor a bounce, but favor does not mean guarantee. And on the S&P index itself, that level to watch would be, for a breakdown for the, this time is objectively different, would be similar. It's about the 4380 or 4375 level. And a quick note, I do trade and focus on the S&P, but if you're trading the Nasdaq, you can trade the Nasdaq itself, and you would follow its levels, its pullback logic, or of course the broader ETF, the Qs, QQQ. That logic will translate similarly to what is not in an uptrend, and it's the only index not to be uptrending. It is the small cap Russell, and that is in a sideways trading range. It is not bullish. It is actually to be traded from both sides of the market. Short sell strategies are favored above 2300, 2325, that just played, and long strategies are favored off 2100, 2125, and ultimately 2150. We're at the midpoint. Good odds for the Russell to head back lower. But again, we take everything a day at a time. These videos are for the next day or couple of days here in TheoTrade, so we are not projecting out the market 6 months from now. We're just looking at this week. Are we going to hold the bounce levels, or might this time be a little bit different where we need to be a little less bullish, more cautious, and maybe more aggressive on the short side? We do not know that. But if we get the break under the trend line, and you can draw these and write these on your own levels, that would be argument. This time is different, but not until we get that break. Until then, be careful and be safe. This is Corey Rosenblum with tonight's Theo video update for September 14th, 2021.